It's a life and death duel under the fierce Kalahari sun. The competitors, Africa's swift and graceful antelope, the springbok, and the fastest predator on land, the cheetah. Here, cheetah and springbok have evolved together, pushing each other to ever greater speeds. It's an eternal contest that leaves only the quick and the dead. To compete at this level takes careful nurturing and supportive family. There are the rigors of competition, cunning deceptions, and dangerous trials. That ensure only the fittest will survive to compete in one of the most spectacular races on Earth. The Kalahari of southern Africa is part of the greatest expanse of sand on the surface of the planet. Here, in the Kigalagadi Transfrontier Park, arid dunelands stretch for hundreds of miles. It is an unforgiving place that tests its hardy inhabitants every day. A steenbok, just half the size of a springbok, makes its way through the dunes, closely watched. The cheetah seems to be weighing her odds. She has 3 large and hungry cubs. Cheetahs are said to run faster than any mammal on Earth. But the steenbok, too, is swift and agile. The outcome is never sure. The steenbok's large, sensitive ears are well tuned to predators. Yet the cheetah will attempt to stalk to within a few yards of her quarry and take him by surprise with her final sprint. This little buck knows every twist and turn in these bushes. He has hair trigger responses and runs like the wind. To get a clear path to her prey, the cheetah detours around the scrub. With long legs for drive, a long tail for balance, and a spine that acts like a spring, the cheetah is built for speed. But the steenbok, too, is fast and fueled by desperation. Kalahari cheetahs have far more misses than kills. This time, she beats the odds. The Kalahari is harsh and nearly waterless. The animals that live here must endure extremes of heat and cold, and dust storms that can block out the sun. This thirst land often pushes the cheetahs to the limits of what they can tolerate. Like their prey, the springbok, they rarely need to drink. But springbok have the edge. They're far better adapted to the fierce Kalahari heat. The dry courses of ancient rivers thread through the sand dunes. These riverbeds with their nutritious minerals and salt-tolerant plants are the preferred habitat of the springbok. Springbok are born to run. The main prey of most cheetahs in the Kalahari, they manage to outlast, if not outpace, the short, swift sprint of the cheetah. This looks like fun and games. It's called pronking, and why they do it, nobody knows. It may confuse predators or discourage them in a show of fitness and agility, or just be training for the big events that could claim their lives. But whatever the springbok do, cheetahs will be watching. The mother and her cubs follow the show with close attention. Young springbok rams lock horns and spar among themselves in preparation for the day when they will challenge older males for their territory. Sometimes these sessions seem as fierce as the real thing. Someday they will fight for the loneliest and most dangerous position in the springbok world. This is the winner's prize. A harsh, solitary vigil, staking out hard-won territory in the dry riverbed. He waits day after day, enduring heat, hunger, and predators, for a breeding herd to enter his realm. Meanwhile, the cheetah mother and her cubs devour a hard-won kill. But a hyena, with its unerring sense for an easy meal, homes in on the cheetah family. For the timid cheetahs, it's no contest. One cub shows some attitude, but cheetahs are no match for the powerful jaws of a hyena. There are no easy meals for this mother. Unlike hyenas, cheetahs must kill almost everything they eat. Her prey is hard to catch and nearly as hard to keep. She may have to hunt again in the heat of the day, when her body temperature could soar to dangerous levels. The big moment has arrived for the territorial springbok ram. A breeding herd has come by. He wastes no time as he checks each ewe for signs that she's receptive. Most of them ignore his attentions. Then, one of the ewes obliges with a few drops of urine for him to test. And its chemical message tells him she's ready. He follows her closely, waiting for the right moment. And with a single well-aimed thrust, the act of procreation is over. Morning finds the cheetah mother calling her cubs. They've gone exploring without her, but the Kalahari is full of danger for curious cats. The cubs have discovered a wounded gemsbuck that may have escaped from a lion. It's weak, but something tells them they're still out of their league. They're intrigued, but they don't know what to do. Its horns could be lethal. It's too big even for their mother to tackle. Eventually, their curiosity satisfied, they heed their mother and leave the gemsbuck to its fate. In the dry riverbed, the male springbok has a problem. The breeding herd is grazing its way out of his territory. He wants them to hang around. The longer they stay, the more ewes he can impregnate. So he tries to herd them back. But he's powerless to hold them against their will. In the low brush along the riverbed, the cheetahs begin their stalk. The herd grazes in a wide part of the bed where there's no cover. The mother leads. In this situation, her cubs are worse than useless and often give the stalk away. Soon she'll leave them behind to watch how she does it. The ram, distracted by his wandering herd, hasn't seen the cheetahs closing in on him, barely 100 yards away. As the ram tends his errant ewes, the cheetah mother inches closer. The cubs would like to join in, but they're learning to sit tight. The mother makes her move. Most hunts end this way. The springbok will escape from her in more than half her chases. When the cubs catch up with their exhausted mother, there's no meal waiting for them. If they're disappointed, it doesn't show. Evening brings relief from the day's heat, and the ground squirrels forage until it's time to go into their burrows for the night. The cheetahs, too, will settle down to sleep somewhere in the dunes, while the squirrels continue their endless antics and squabblings over choice pickings below. One spots trouble on the horizon. House guests from hell. And there's no doubt where they intend to spend the night. The sharp-nosed visitors hardly acknowledge the squirrel's existence and are about to take over their burrows. The meerkats also do some end-of-the-day foraging, scratching through the sand for insects, scorpions, and other little goodies. Some clear the burrows they will sleep in tonight. But before bedding down, they groom one another so thoroughly that they'll all sleep tonight with fewer fleas. The reluctant hosts look glum. It's past their bedtime, yet they must wait for the meerkats to decide which burrows they will use. And here's one squirrel who won't be sleeping in his favorite burrow tonight. Sunset reveals a newcomer to the area. A young male cheetah sprays his final declaration for the night. He and his male partner, both young bloods in the area, are intent on extending their territory. They ventured well beyond their usual range. But tonight they'll still sleep to the familiar calls of barking geckos. The geckos call to declare their territories and to attract the silent females. Not far off, the cheetah mother and her cubs are sound asleep, oblivious to the summertime chorus around them. A male black coron breaks the early morning calm as he displays above his territory in the dunes. These birds are common throughout the Kalahari and act out their noisy disputes with spectacular aerial displays. Young males like these often team up together, whereas female cheetahs live solitary lives unless they have cubs. These two are probably brothers and partners for life. They hunt, go courting, and today they're exploring together. At certain trees, they stop to sniff and spray. These trees are bulletin boards where cheetahs declare ownership of the area to other territorial males and advertise their presence to passing females. From the odors left by other cheetahs, they'll know who else is in the neighborhood. And they will surely know that they are trespassing. In fact, they have already been seen by two older males who are long established in the area. The older pair respond immediately. Like the springbok, cheetahs claim mating rights within their territories. They'll defend these furiously. The intruders continue to explore and trespass, unaware of what they're walking into. Only now do the youngsters pause and seem to sense the trouble they're in. The older males advance toward them with ominous intensity. Male cheetahs will sometimes kill one another in territorial fights. The younger males seem uncertain, but refuse to give ground. The older males flank the youngsters threateningly. Each side waits for the other to make the first move. And then, it's a standoff. But now the roles have been reversed. This time, the youngsters are on the outside. Still, neither side will risk injury in an evenly matched contest. But then, surprisingly, the older males begin to slink away in strangely exaggerated slow motion. The young males have carried the day, but this one keeps a constant watch on the retreat, unwilling to take his eyes off his adversaries, while he backs toward a shady tree. It's all over. The older males head off, leaving the intruders to savor their extended territory. High on a dune, above the riverbed, ostriches have made their nest. And when a jackal appears to be just passing by, the male ostrich is not fooled. The jackal has a den nearby, with her own young to care for. 3 pups are waiting to be fed. The first chick has made his debut, and within a few days, most of the other eggs will also hatch. Shielding the eggs from the fierce Kalahari sun is crucial. The male ostrich meticulously arranges them to make sure his body covers every one. Temperatures can soar in the Kalahari, often to over 110 degrees, and the sand becomes unbearably hot. Springbok find shade where they can. Sometimes there's barely enough. Others carry their shade with them. Sheltered under their own bushy tails, ground squirrels forage in the hot sun. They'll also dig to cooler sand, which they throw over their backs in a shower. They then press their bodies into the pits they've dug for a few degrees of relief. The cheetah males have taken refuge in the shade, while nearby gemsbuck keep an eye on them. Prostrate with the Kalahari heat, the cats must pant heavily to keep cool. Springbok don't have to drink. They can usually get enough moisture from what they eat. The herd is browsing the flowers that have blossomed in the wake of an all-too-brief shower. The delicate blossoms must be a welcome change from their usual diet of grasses and leaves. Another source of moisture on the dry dunes is the sama melon. These ensure the survival of many animals here. Gemsbuck, in particular, get much of their water from the juicy contents of these melons. Even cheetahs are known to eat them, but the majority of their moisture comes from the flesh of their prey. They see what they're after, and the hunt is on. They've caught a calf. Its mother is drawn to its cries and struggles. She won't be intimidated, and she's not scared off when one of the cheetahs tries to deflect her. She's desperate to free her youngster from the cheetah's strangling bite. But where in all this is his head? The calf seems none the worse for its adventure, and its mother turns her attention again to the cheetahs. The calf had a lucky escape, but the cheetahs had been fortunate as well. Gemsbuck horns are deadly weapons. The cow could so easily have killed him. In the past few days, the ostrich eggs have been hatching fast, and the male has been swallowing quantities of the calcium-rich shells, often with the soft inner lining still attached. Within a day of hatching, the chicks are steady enough on their stout legs to move about. Many of them are now ready to follow their parents into the dunes. But there are still a few eggs to hatch. only one will succeed. The parents will wait only long enough for this chick to become a little steadier on his legs before leading their brood away into the dunes, followed perhaps by an ever-hopeful jackal. It's a slow start. Some of the chicks are barely mobile, and a strong wind doesn't help. Soon, nothing will remain of the nest site. Hyenas will claim the unhatched eggs, and even now, a dung beetle rolls away a ball of ostrich dung in which to lay its egg. The springbok are lambing. Ewes are able to time their reproduction to take advantage of favorable conditions. The ewes also synchronize their birth, so for about a month, the market is flooded with an abundance of small, easy meals. The arrival of this youngster has attracted some curious ewes, but the sooner they leave the mother and her newborn, the better. So much attention could attract predators. The newborn lamb is defenseless and must stay hidden for about the first 20 days of its life. Within a month, this wobbly youngster must be swift enough to run with the herd. Once the lambs join the herd in the open, they're instant targets. In the ancient race, the lambs must try their legs, and the cheetah cubs must learn to hunt. The ewe is watchful, but the mother cheetah leads her cubs in close without being discovered. The lamb must also master the exuberant art of pronking, but his timing is terrible. The mother holds back as her eager cubs give chase. This is their training, but they still have a lot to learn. Right now, all the cub can do is trip up this small prey. The mother will be needed for the kill. For several days after her lamb has been taken, the ewe returns to search for it. Maybe it's over there. Or is it there? She doesn't seem to comprehend that her lamb has gone for good. It's only lost. It'll turn up soon. Rain in the Kalahari is always patchy and unpredictable. It's been nearly a year since more than a few drops fell in these parts, but now a tremendous storm is brewing. By dawn, water is pouring off the land into the old riverbed. For the first time in years, a river is flowing where just yesterday there was only bone-dry sand. Within a day or two, the river has just about drained away. But the water has worked its magic as ephemeral plants of the desert put on a show. The dunes support a riot of blossoms. A bumper crop of bitter gemsbuck melons and sama melons ripen for the lean times that will surely return. The rains have ensured that in this part of the Kalahari, there is grazing for the springbok and springbok for the cheetah. Sun and dry air take their toll, but hardy desert grasses now cover much of the dunes. The small ostrich chicks are easy targets in the riverbed. The mother and her cubs can take their time. There'll be no need for a stalk. They can simply trot down to get one. The male ostrich immediately goes into action by enticing a cub to chase him. On powerful legs, he leads the cub away from the chicks. Whenever the cub tries to return to his family, the ostrich tempts him into another irresistible chase. The strategy works well, and while the ostrich is distracting the cub, he's buying time for his chicks. The female, too, has an act. She pretends to be lame and flounders away from her chicks. She makes herself look like an easy catch. The other cubs and the mother have each caught a chick and can ignore the convincing performance of the female ostrich. But the inept cubs are not sure what to do with their chicks. Meanwhile, the male ostrich continues his teasing game and almost looks as though he's enjoying it. The cub has missed out on a meal. He'll never find a chick for himself now. He wants to leave, but the ostrich continues to bait him. Come on, just one more time. The game is worn thin. The cub has had enough. But there's a friendly welcome back, and perhaps a lesson has been learned. Six months have passed, and the dawning of a Kalahari winter's day can be intensely cold. Temperatures well below freezing are not uncommon. The first meerkat to emerge from its burrow faces the sun to warm up, while nearby, young springbok rams engage in an awkward bout of sparring. Meerkats are early risers. Soon they're all solemnly assembled for their morning worship of the winter sun. But some young ones can't rise to the occasion. They're asleep on their feet. The youngsters with their smaller bodies warm up first, and the ranks fall out in disarray. From a distance, a solitary meerkat watches all the fun. She's down on her luck. Cast out by the group, she has spent the night with the squirrels. The rest of the meerkats still watch her carefully. She may have once been a rival to the dominant female, or even the pack's previous leader. Now she's reduced to consorting with squirrels. When her pack leaves, they leave without her. She watches them go. She'll follow them at a distance as they forage through the day. But first, the outcast checks the burrows where the pack spent the night. There's no future for a single meerkat. She'll trail the pack until the grudge is forgotten. The cheetah cubs are about 18 months old now, as big as their mother and old enough to leave her to seek their own fortunes. Once they go, she may never see them again. But she may not be alone for long. Not far off, the two young males rest in the dunes, keeping a close watch on wildebeest in the riverbed below. They've spotted the calves in the herd. They won't run at prey down a steep dune. Instead, they'll take a roundabout route to get on the same level as the wildebeest. At first, only some of the herd see the cheetahs, but soon they're all in full flight. They've caught a calf, but once again, they may have to contend with the ferocity of maternal instinct. The cheetahs weather one charge, but the calf still struggles, and the mother won't give up. Another charge like that one, and the mother might have her calf back. But she has given up, and the calf is doomed. One of the brothers has paid a price for their meal. He's bleeding from a horn wound in his thigh. But he's been lucky, and he's recovering quickly enough to claim his share. Cheetahs can take a heavy toll on wildebeest calves. Some herds in the Kalahari lose nearly all their calves to cheetahs. Although these young springbok won't reach breeding age until the age of 2, they spar endlessly, practicing for the battles ahead. The cheetah mother shows no interest in hunting. But if she were interested, these precocious youngsters would be as hard to catch as an adult. The female has other things in mind. Her cubs have gone, and she's once again a single female, alone and available. The young males are the first to get her message from the scent she has left in her wake, and they're urgently pursuing her. They're eager to get to her before any other males that might be around. They call to her with chirrups that can carry for a mile or more, but she could be anywhere in these dunes. She may even be hiding from them. At times like this, they're not interested in hunting. There's just one thing on their minds. One male doggedly continues to search. The other, in a move he may come to regret, settles in to rest for a while. The more enterprising male is rewarded with a clue. The female has urinated here recently. It must be close. Suddenly she's there, crouched and ready, as though expecting him. She accepts his approach. He grasps her neck in typical cat mating fashion. It seems to make her passive as a kitten carried by its mother. Then abruptly, she lets him know it's over. At this moment, the other brother arrives, heightening the tension. The brothers usually share their females, and he tries now to stake his claim. She's having none of it. They've been noisy, and they constantly look about for any danger. When the female tries to move away, the brothers follow. They'll stay close to her through the night until she's ready to mate again. Then she and the males will go their separate ways. Once more, the female is alone and hunting. And if her mating was successful, she's already carrying the next generation of hunters along with her. Cheetah and springbok are both runners in the bigger race of evolution. They have honed each other to extraordinary perfection, matchless in their grace and stunning speed. For thousands of years, the cheetah has sought the springbok in the dusty riverbeds of the Kalahari. In this never-ending competition, both are winners. Maybe the beauty and splendor of their wild ballet is their celebration. Cheetah and springbok, incomparable athletes who, as they go, barely seem to touch the earth.